How many of you have been watching the George Floyd trial? You know, I think I have two major thoughts. One is that you have to remember that this is the prosecution's case against Derek Chauvin, right? Meaning it's all going to be about the case that they are trying to make, right? So it's going to seem like, duh, of course he's guilty. Of course he's guilty. There's no way in the world he's not going to get convicted. But I want to remind you that there is another side to this. And there may not seem to be a legitimate other side to this, but that doesn't matter. Under American jurisprudence, the defense gets to present their case. And they're going to say things that are designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to sow doubt. So that people have this thought, oh my God, I do have a doubt. I do have a reasonable doubt as to the guilt of Derek Chauvin under these three different sets of requirements, which are the three things that he has been charged with: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter in the second degree. I have said before, and I repeat that it's going to be tough to prove the second and third degree murder for a number of reasons. I think it's pretty much of a slam dunk on the voluntary manslaughter in the second degree, right? Which itself it's not good enough. I think he's guilty of first degree murder, but that at least would be a 10-year prison sentence, right? So, I mean, it hopefully will help. It's not enough. But here's the thing, that if you saw in the testimony yesterday, they actually showed while Charles McMillan, who was amazing, how great was that guy, right? With the white glasses, it showed that George Floyd was resisting getting into the police car. I don't think we've seen that video, that police cam video, in that way at least. And he was absolutely not having it. He wasn't getting in the police car. I would recommend that anyone who is under arrest and already handcuffed and is about to be put in a police car, that you understand that you're not in control and you can fight and fight and fight and fight and fight, but it's not going to work. And it's only going to, work against you. And even Charles McMillan was saying to George Floyd, to get in the car. Now, George Floyd, maybe because he was high on something or he has a long time problem with, being in closed spaces, he wasn't having it. He was resisting. That's going to be a big deal because that allowed Derek Chauvin to exercise additional force against him, right? It's like, get in the car. If he gets in the car, it's fine. If they have to push him in the car, then they have to use additional force. If they can't even get him in the car, because according to Derek Chauvin, he's a big guy, which he is, he's much bigger than Derek Chauvin, then they're going to have to amp up their force. And that's why he was put on the ground and he was subdued. And they told, stop moving, stop talking, all of that. Now, I think the defense is going to make the case that that was appropriate for them to do, and that because he was so big and he was so wild, according to them, and he was on amped up on something, that they wanted to absolutely make sure that he was subdued. I think that's a legitimate argument for 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, maybe a minute. But I don't believe that any of the jurors are going to buy that it was completely legitimate for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. So that's the case. So also, I thought that witness, Charles McMillan, oh my goodness, him breaking down on the stand, that matters in criminal trials. That matters in any trial because the jurors are human and they are affected by that. And they could see how deeply painful that was. And many of them probably, were feeling sad and maybe even crying themselves. We can't ever see the jury unless you're in the courtroom. But the thing that I love about this trial, and I'd love your thoughts on this, is in addition to moving in the direction of hopefully getting justice in this situation, I don't think we've ever been introduced to a neighborhood, any neighborhood, especially a predominantly African-American neighborhood like that, and seen this cast of characters and gotten to understand who this African-American man, George Floyd, was, his friends, his family, the people in cup foods, and the people just walking around the street, the young people, the older people, the 61-year-old, the 9-year-old girl, all of that. It's like one of the best reality shows. And, we had the Cosbys a long time ago, right? The Jeffersons, and, we were trying to be introduced to an African-American family. This is the reality of a real community, and seeing how extraordinarily authentic and passionate and real and cool they are. I mean, even George Floyd's girlfriend, who was white, talking today, that was amazing, the insight she was able to give.
Good morning, dear.
Oh, cut!
We have a lot to celebrate this week.
You have the right to remain tripping your balls off.
It's like Illuminati, but with leather.
First day at Fight Club, you must fight!
2020 refuses to concede.
I was going to have to return 2021 because I didn't like the 7-day trial. But I'm in now. We're in, sexy liberals.